Guys, in today's tutorial, we are going to learn how to create this animation in After Effects.
Yo, Tupac Wagwan. Shall I tell Uncle if you say today I no go come class? I did my jeep inside, I go see my girlfriend.
Alright, so now let's begin. So when you open your Adobe After Effects for the first time, this is what you are going to see. We have the composition, the new composition, then new composition from footage. Alright, so what you need to do first is you will have to create a new composition. Okay, so we have a different way of creating a new composition. You can create a composition by clicking on new composition panel here, or coming to the project panel. Here is the project panel, and here is the timeline. So you click on the composition icon at the bottom here, and you create a new composition. Or you go to the top menu here and click on composition and click on new composition. Alright, so let's go ahead and create our new composition. So you click on it, and this pop-up will come. So at the top here is where you give a name to your composition. So with mine, I will call it animation. So you just type it in there, animation, and I will set my width to 1280 pixels, 1280 pixels, and the height should be 720 pixels. So my frame rate should be 30, and then the pixel aspect ratio should be what, square. So when you come to the duration gives about how long you want your composition should be. Okay, so mine is 10 seconds, 29 microseconds. Okay, so over here you can select any color that you want your background to look like. So you click on the color and you sample a color, any color that you want. You just drag onto it, then it will pick. But I want mine to be at black. But you can select any color that you want. So after this, you just press on OK. So now your composition is set. So what we need to do now is to import our um, illustrations into it. But before we start, I downloaded my resources from TreePic. So you can come here and you search landscape illustrations. So when you search, you see a variety of them, and you just select the one you want. Alright, so let's go ahead. Okay, so to import um, let's say illustrations into or a footage into After Effects, you double click on the project panel where you the new composition is. You double click on any empty space over there. So when you click on it, your folder will open. So you select whatever thing you want to select. So here is my landscape illustration. So you just click on it, you come to import. So you see that now your illustration is showing at the top, but it's not showing at the composition panel. The reason being is that you will have to drag it onto our composition. Either you will drag it onto the composition panel or you will drag it to the timeline. So I will drag mine to the composition. Okay, so now you can see that it's showing, but it's not fit to the artboard. So what I will do for it to fit in is I'll press S on the keyboard. So when I press the S on the keyboard, you will see that something will show at the base here. Okay, the scale stands for scale. The S stands for scale, which means you can just drag it to make it bigger. So I'll just hover my mouse pointer over it to increase the size. Okay, so now you see that it is fit into it, but I want it to be at the middle. So you come to alignment. If you don't see alignment at the properties panel here, you can go to window and you select the alignment. Okay, so let's go on. You click on center alignment. Okay, so now you see that it's at the middle of the artboard. Perfect. So now what you have to do is, you see when you look to the video that I showed earlier, you see that it seems the thing is moving. right? So you have to do something to it to cause it to move. So what you need to do for it to move is you come to a preset. There's properties here which they call preset. If you can't see your own over here, you go to the window. Sorry, you go to the window and you say effect and preset. Okay, so you just click on it, so it will show over here. So now what we need to add to this background to make it move is we call something motion tower. Okay, so when it comes to the effect and the preset, we have a lot of presets which we can or which we'll be working with later. So you just press on the search button here and you type motion tower. You type motion car. Okay, so mine is showing over here, motion car. So what you need to do is you have to anything that you want to do for it to appear um, at the composition, you would have to drag it onto it. Okay, so let's say this one you have another illustration, and I want the effect to what take um on onto the that illustration. What I will have to do is I'll just drag my effect onto it. Okay, so now I want what effect, whatever we are coming to do with the motion car, to take effect on the illustration, okay, the landscape illustration. So what I will have to do is I'll just click it and drag it onto my composition. Perfect. So after dragging it, you see that there's a pop-up menu at where the project panel is. Okay. So now we are coming to do something over here for this to move. Okay. So what we would have to do is at the top, you see that we have tile center, we have tile width, tile height, output width, output height. Okay, so what we are coming to work with, we will not work with all this. All right. So one thing that we have to know is to cause something to move in After Effects. If not for expression, we will have to create a keyframe. Okay, we have something called expression, which we will come to later. So what you need to do is you have to create a keyframe. So if you create a two keyframes with different positions, you see that whatever thing you are doing, it will move. Okay, so now what we are coming to do is, you see, when you look over here, we have a figure here and we have a figure here. So the one at our left side is called the x-axis, and the one at our right side is called the y-axis. So other thing we are coming to do over here is to just we want it to move from left to right, from left to right. So which means we are going to work on only the x-axis. Okay. So this this what I'm moving right now is called the indicator. Indicator. The effect of the indicator is wherever place you put it before creating the keyframe, that's where the keyframe will take place of. Okay, so let's say if you put it here and you create a keyframe, the keyframe will be there. If you move it to somewhere here and you create a keyframe, it will take effect over there. Okay, so what I want to do is I want my first keyframe to be at the very beginning. Okay, so what you will have to do is you enter a figure, which is you enter 15,000. 15,000. So after entering the 15,000, you press enter on the keyboard. Okay, so after pressing it, you see that it creates a keyframe. It creates a small keyframe at the down here. Sorry, after entering the figure, you have to press the stopwatch. This stopwatch over here. So when you press on the stopwatch, it will create a keyframe. So you see that at the we have a small keyframe over there. Okay, so that is the first keyframe. But I said earlier on, to make something to move in After Effects, you need two keyframes. Right. So now we've created one. So now you move the indicator to wherever you want this to move and stop. So I want it to move from the beginning to the end. Okay, so you drag your keyframe to the very end. Okay, so this one it will not create automatically. The reason being is if it's position, which you will come back to, if it's position, the moment you do it and you move it, it will create a keyframe. Okay, so I don't want the same figure to apply to be like the first one. It will not move. Okay, so after moving the indicator to the end, you enter a figure on the x axis again, which will be you enter minus 27,000 minus 27,000. So after pressing the minus 27,000, you press on what? Enter. Okay, so now let's play it and see the way it will behave. Okay, so now you see that our landscape is moving. All right, it's moving, but I don't like how it is. It's like it's joint. Okay, it's not in a parallel. Like it's not looking so nice. So what you would have to do is when you come to the base at the project panel where the motion car is, at the bottom you see that you have something called mirror edges. You have a mirror edges over here. So what you need to do is it has a small box over there. So you have to click on the box. So let's click on the box and see what will happen. So when you click on the box, you see that now everything is facing each other. Okay, it's not one way. Now it's facing each other. So now let's play it and see the way it will behave. Okay, so now you see that we have a nice and a smooth transition. Okay, so now we are done with the background. Okay, so what we will have to do is let's go back to our composition. All right, so let's go ahead and import our other illustration, which is the Jeep. So to import it, we have to create a new composition. Okay, so you go to the composition, new composition, and I want the same settings. Okay, and the you type the name the Jeep. You can type any name you want to save it for your own sake. Okay, but for my I want it to be like this. You can still come here and customize any color that you want. So after this, you go ahead and click OK. So now what we do is to import our um, zip into our composition. So to import it, you come to the project panel here and double click on this negative space. Okay, so double click on it and then click the zip and press OK. So now we've imported our zip. So now let's drag it onto our composition area. Okay, so now you see that is the zip is bigger than our artboard. Okay, so you press S on the keyboard to scale it down a bit. Okay, scale it down a bit. I think this is okay. And then the rotation, I don't like the way the rotation is. So what you need to do is press R to bring the rotation properties and then you scale it on the Y axis. Okay, scale it on the Y axis to get this kind of rotation. Okay, if you are doubting if the rotation is perfect, you can come here and then choose a ruler. Okay, so click on the ruler to pick a ruler for your guide. Okay, it's always advisable when you are working to work with guide, okay, to get accurate uh, composition. Okay, so I will scale it, I will rotate it small again, rotate it small to get a perfect. Okay, I think it's okay this way. Yeah. So what we need to do for we need to do now is to create a keyframe. Okay. What we need to do is we want the car to be what bouncing. Okay. We need this car to be bouncing. So what we need to do for the car to be bouncing is we need to create a keyframe for a position. Okay. So the first keyframe it should be at where the car is resting now, and the second one should also rest at where it is now. But the second one should go up. What I mean is, for the bouncing, we got something in After Effects um, this point the indicator, this indicator, if it's over here, it's called what? The frame in. It's called the frame in, the frame out, sorry. And if it's at the beginning here, it's called the frame in. Okay. So what we need to do is we want this to happen very fast, and in after effects you can work in seconds and you can also work in what in frame. Alright. So now let's to work in frame. When you look at the base here, when you look at the base here, you see that we have a zoom in to frame and we have zoom out to frame. Okay, so now let's drag this to what zoom out to frame. So when you drag it, you see that over here it's not second again, it's now in frame. Okay, so now let's create a keyframe for this. So first we want the car to be resting and it should go up and come down again. We want it to land when it go up, it should land at the same base. Okay, so to do that, the first keyframe that you create, you have to create press a key on the keyboard to bring the position top twist. So first one you need to create a keyframe from the beginning. Okay, so you want it to be what interval of 5 frames. Okay, so now let's drag it out of frame, which is it should be at the 10th keyframe, and you create the same position. It should be at the same position, and you create another keyframe over there. So now let's come back to 5 interval of 5 keyframe and create what another keyframe and move it up a bit. Um, like the movement. So let's delete it and then move it up a bit. Okay. All right. So now if we play it, you see that it have that kind of bouncing. Okay, it has that kind of bouncing. Okay, so now let's go back to what second. So now let's play it and see how it will behave. You see, it's bouncing. Okay, it's bouncing perfectly, and I like this effect. All right, so as maybe car is bouncing, it cannot just bounce maybe one, two, and it will stop. It's supposed to be hot, bouncing continuously. Okay, it's supposed to bounce continuously. So what you need to do is you have something in After Effects called expression. Okay, so expression means to make something to happen over time. Okay, to make something to happen over time. So we are going to write expression for this car to what to continue bouncing over time. So to do that, we we are doing this because we don't want to maybe get a plenty keyframes over here, which maybe it will delay our time. So to do that, you hold Alt on the you hold Alt and click on the stopwatch. Okay, press down Alt and click on the stopwatch. When you do it, you see that um, a panel will open down here, which says transform position. So what we need to do over here is we need to write expression. The expression that we write is our expression. So the expression is loop loop out parentheses, open parentheses and close parentheses. The parentheses mean uh, open bracket and close bracket. Okay, so when you type loop, you see that we have loop in, loop duration, we have loop out, and then loop out duration. So let's click on the loop out, open bracket and close bracket. Okay, so after pressing it, just press any negative space in your artboard. Okay, so now let's play and see how our car is going to behave. So you see that it's bouncing over time. Okay, it's not bouncing maybe once and it will stop. It's bouncing over time. Okay, so this is what we want to get. All right. So I think this is cool. So what we need to do now is to import um, our tire. Okay. So to import it, let's just come to the project panel, double click on this negative space, and then select the tire and press on import. Okay. So now the car is here. So what we need to do is let's drag it onto our composition here. Alright, so we drag it onto it. Perfect. But the car is bigger than our car. It's bigger than what it's supposed to be. So let's press S on the keyboard for scale scale it down a bit. Let's scale it down a bit and then place it correctly over there. Okay, now our tire is looking perfect. Okay, so now we want the tire to also be rotating. So what we need to do is it also rotate over time. So we need to write expression for it. Okay, so to write expression for it, it's because it's rotation, you need to press R on the keyboard to bring the rotation properties and then hold down Alt on the keyboard and press on the stopwatch. Okay, so now you see that the pop-up it has come. So what you need to do is type in expression. So what you are going to type in is time times plus 500. Time times plus 500. Okay, what it means is with the plus, it means it will rotate clockwise. But when you type minus over there, it will rotate anti-clockwise. Okay, so we want our type to work, rotate clockwise. So after this, you just press any negative space on your artboard. Okay, so now let's play it and see what will happen. So now you see that our tire is what? Also rotating. Okay, our tire is also rotating, which is perfect. So now let's duplicate the tire and send it to the front. So to duplicate, we press Ctrl D. Alright, so now let's drag it to the front. Okay, so to make sure it's accurate, we need to move the indicator, which is the remove a ruler from the top to the base. Okay, to give it to get a perfect alignment. Okay, so I think this one should come down small. Okay, it's perfect now. Now let's play it and see the way it will behave. Okay, so now you see that our car is bouncing and the tire is also rotating, which is looking perfect. So now what you need to do is let's drag all these uh, onto our landscape. So now let's open our landscape properties, and what we need to do now is drag our illustration, which is the GIF, into it and see how it will look like. Okay, this is how it is, but it's looking too big. So what we need to do is let's scale it down a bit. So to scale it, press S on the keyboard and then scale it down. I think this is okay. Okay, this is okay. Alright, so let's play it and see how it will look like. Okay, so now it seems like our car is moving. Okay, now our car is moving. And I will be teaching you guys how to add sound effects um, to our illustration. Okay, to our composition. Sorry, how to add sound effects to our composition. I'll see you guys.